Hey, what's up YouTube? In this video, I'll be showing you how to make this awesome modern style house. This house is really interesting, it looks great, and it's probably the best modern house that I've made in quite a while. Why don't I give you guys a little bit of a look at it before I actually show you how to make it. So, this modern house, if we start with the ground floor tour, we have two entrances. We have this left-hand entrance, which is a little bit smaller than the right, and this right-hand main entrance is a little bit fancier in a couple of different ways. We have a nice water feature left and right of us as we walk into the entrance. It's also just a little bit grander. As we walk into the entrance, you'll notice that on the ground floor, it's all very nice, lit up and bright. We can even see into the left-hand side of the ground floor. We can actually see everything that's going on there. Very, very modern stuff. You'll notice that I've left the house blank. I've not done the interior. The reason for that, other than the fact that I hate interiors, and that is the main reason why I've not done it, is because I think that you guys can better visualize what's going on with this house if you make the interior yourself, because this house is so adaptable. There's so many chances for you to make like secret rooms and hidden entrances and staircases and ladders and all sorts of different things that I'm just going to leave it blank and I'll let your imagination run wild. But this is the ground floor. You can see that there's quite a bit of space here, and it's a bit more interesting because it's not just like one level ceiling, it's actually a little bit multi-level. If we walk out the smaller entrance, you'll notice that we have a nice little garden, and the way that you actually navigate all three floors of the house, yeah, that's right, there's three of them, is this handy staircase on the left-hand side of the house. It's on the outside. So if we walk up to the second floor and straight out onto the balcony, you'll notice that we have an entrance to the second floor of the house, which is actually quite spacious inside here. It's quite spacious, and this is a nice little, this could potentially be a really cool hidden room if you were to wall this off and create some sort of contraption in which only you could open this area of the house. It'd actually be quite cool as a nice little hidden room if you were to wall this off. And the same kind of goes for like behind the staircase and stuff. Plenty of chances to really make this house shine. And if we come up to the third and final floor, it's a little bit of a small floor, the third and final floor. Really, what I think I would put up here, if I was making the interior, which I'm not, I think that this would be the bedroom. I think that that's what I'd put up here. Yeah, this would definitely make a really cool bedroom, just because of how small it is, and because it's kind of like nice and elevated, it's nice up at the top of the house, it'd look great. We even have a nice little pool attached to the house as well, which fits in very nicely, adds a nice little bit of colour. That's basically the house, guys. I don't know what else to tell you. Hopefully you guys want to build this. I'm not going to waste your time anymore. Why don't I actually show you how to make this thing? So, if you want to make it, here's what you'll need. Grab yourself some block of quartz, some pillar quartz block, some quartz slabs, some cyan hardened clay, some birchwood planks, some birchwood stairs, some blue stained glass block, some blue stained glass paint, and some water buckets. That's if you want to have a lovely pool next to your house. Also, if you want to plan on doing the little garden outside, you'll also need lime hardened clay, green hardened clay, and some form of flower. My favourite is always the poppy. Now, those are the only materials that we should need. I do sometimes forget some though. So once you have each one of those materials, and once you've figured out where you want to make it, and I can tell you guys that this house will fit into a 29 block coming across the front by a 25 block going towards the back area. So if you want to better plan out your house, dig into the ground and create a similar rectangle that I have in my world. And if you do that, come all the way down to the bottom front right hand corner of the rectangle, start from this corner block and count inwards by 1, 2, 3, and 4. This is where we are going to begin the house, and we're going to begin with a row of 4 blocks of quartz coming up from this block. 1, 2, 3, 4. We then want to move backwards from that 4th block by 8 using the quartz slab. So like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We then want to take this 8th slab and we want to connect it down to the ground using block of quartz. But then we want to take the same slab and we want to extend it backwards by 4. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. And connect that block down to the ground using your block of quartz and your slabs. Then take the slab again and extend it backwards by a further 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and connect that down to the ground using quartz in all of its varieties. And once more, we just have to do this one more time. Take the quartz slab and extend it backwards by a further 4. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then connect it down to the ground using your quartz block and your quartz slab. So what you will end up with is a shape that should look like this. But that's not all we want to do. So wherever the quartz slab connects down to the ground, like that, each one of these 4 instances, we want to extend up on top of those quartz blocks, each by 3, using the quartz block. So that's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Connect each one of those third blocks together using your quartz slabs, like this. However, we now want to go up on top of each one of those quartz blocks that we connected together by a further 4 using the quartz block. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and we want to do the same thing again, moving down the line. And once we have all of our rows of 4, like now, we want to connect them together at the top. So the shape that we are actually looking for should look a lot like that. Perfect. Now, once you've got that sorted out, we actually want to move towards the back of the house now. So we want to move towards the back of the house, and we want to come all the way down to the bottom block, which is here. We want to take this block and we want to move to the right of it using our block of quartz, and we want to do a row of 7 going right. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, exactly like that. Go up on top of this 7th block of quartz by 2, 1, 2, and then extend that block to the left, connect back to the house. Go up on top of this same block of quartz again by 1. Extend it towards the left using your quartz slabs, like this. Then take the same block of quartz once again and extend it upwards by 3 using your block of quartz. That's 1, 2, and 3. And then extend that to the left using your quartz slab. Then finally take the block of quartz again and extend it upwards by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then connect it over to the left in such a fashion that we end up with this. So you guys might be able to see that there are some similarities between what we've just made and what is on this particular side of the house. Now, the thing is, now that we have this shape on the back, we actually want to come to the left-hand side of what we've made. So this side, it's empty at the moment, but we want to copy what we have there onto this side. The easiest way to do it is to literally look directly forward over there, just there, and copy what you have just done to here. I'm sure that I don't have to describe to you once again all of the numbers and stuff. It's just so much easier to literally just look directly forward like there, and then just copy what you've already done. So we will end up, in a moment, once we have finished all of our copying, we will end up with the exact same thing on the left-hand side here as we do have on the right-hand side. So we just want to have something, I've almost finished it just about, I think. We want to have something which should look like this. So you can see that we have the same thing connected together at the back. Now, once you've got that sorted out, we do have to do a couple of more things. If we come up to the top front of what we've just made, we want to connect the top corner of what we've just made together, like left to right, like that. We also want to connect the front part of this frame, so like the front part of this frame, these two upward corner quartz blocks, we want to connect those together using quartz slabs like this. We also want to add a slight bit of detail to what we've made. So we want to do a row of a block of quartz that goes all the way around the base of the very right hand side of what we've made. So it sits on the base of the right hand side of what we've made and on the base of the left hand side. So exactly as I'm doing now, we just want to connect those two particular sides together. on the right-hand side of this house, as the right-hand side is a little bit different to the left, we want to come all the way to the back. We want to start on top of this row of 3 block of quartz that we have right here, and we want to do a row of 3 blue stained glass pane. We also want to do the same thing here and here, basically sat in between the pillars of quartz that we already have. Place a row of block of quartz directly on top of your glass, and carry that row of block of quartz forward towards the front of the house, and fill in underneath that row using block of quartz. I know that this might seem a little bit tricky at the moment, but in reality, all we've done is that. Very, very simple stuff. If we come to the back of the house, I'm just going to make sure that everything is in order here. The only thing that we have to do is fill in the very bottom row of empty space using blue stained glass pane. The rest will take care of itself later. Now, if we come to the top of the house, no, we don't have anything to do here, and we don't have anything to do on the left. Really, the only thing that we have to do on the left here is just fill in 2 rows of block of quartz just left of the entrance. So like what we have on the opposite side there, we want to copy onto here. So this is what the left-hand side of the house at the moment does look like. And that's perfect. That's exactly what we're after, actually, at the moment. So once you've sorted that out, we'll take care of the entrance and stuff later on. So we want to come all the way to the very back of the house, the back of the frame once again. And we want to take the very bottom right-hand corner block of the frame, which is this block of quartz, and we want to extend it to the right by 14 with the block of quartz. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Take that 14th block and go up on top of it by 2. 1, 2. Connect all the way over to the left using your block of quartz. Come all the way back over to the block that you placed on top of the 14th block, the block that you just extended to the left, and go up on top of it by 1. Place a row of quartz slab going all the way over to the left. Come back to the block that you just extended from, and place a row of 3 block of quartz on top of it. That's 1, 2, and 3. Then place a row of quartz slab coming all the way over to the left like this. So what we will end up with should look very much like that. Perfecto. Now, once that's sorted out, we want to come to the very left-hand side of the house. We want to take the very bottom corner of the left-hand side of the house, and we want to extend it forwards to the right by 20 with the block of quartz. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. You should find that it miraculously comes in line with the opposite side of the house. And then we want to take this 20th block and we want to do 2 upper left diagonals coming from this block. So that'll be 1 diagonal, 2 diagonals. Go left by 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do 4 upper left diagonals. 1, 2, 3, 4. Connect all the way to the back of the house. Fill in this shape that we have here using a block of quartz. So we're going to fill in this shape using block of quartz, and I don't know what else to tell you. That's exactly what we're going to be doing. So once we've filled all of this in using the block of quartz, we can create a little bit more detail around the house. So that is exactly what we're looking for. So far, we have a pretty good frame going on. So the next thing that we're going to be doing is we're going to be coming back to the main entrance, the big entrance, and we want to take the bottom front left-hand corner of the entrance, which is this block, and we want to move backwards from this block by 4. So that'll be 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you are on the 5th block. From this 5th block, you want to place a row of 5 quartz slab coming left. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It'll kind of look like it's coming outwards that way. Yeah, perfect. We then want to place a row of a pillar quartz block next to it. That wants to be a row of 2. 1, 2. Coming upwards, we want to leave a gap of 1 and place another row of 2 pillar quartz block. 1, 2. We then want to place a row of quartz slab. Going left, we want to place 2 rows. 1, 2. Then we want to place a block of quartz. And then we want to take out our block of quartz and we want to create, and this is kind of tricky, we want to create the stairs that we have on the left. Like, we kind of want to create this shape, but we kind of want to just create the outline of what we have here. So you can see that we have all of the quartz here just on the right. Well, just kind of like create the outline of like the quartz on the right, if that makes sense. Like, you don't have to like do all of it, and you certainly don't have to come all the way up to the top. Again, it might not make a lot of sense, but yeah, that's kind of what you're looking for. The reason for that is that when we start doing the inside, we don't want to limit ourselves to the amount of space that we have. It'll make more sense later on. I'm just going to fill in these 2 blocks here because I know that those can be filled in. And once you have this taken care of, we now want to basically, above each one of these 2 pillar quartz blocks, we want to have a row of quartz slab that connects all the way from the right to the left, or the left to the right, like this, in a similar fashion. You guys can see exactly what I've just added. Now, once you've got that sorted out, we're now going to add in more framing. So if we come all the way up to the top-ish right-hand side of the house, here-ish, you guys can see where I am, we want to take this block here, this quartz block. It's the one that is connected together using quartz slabs. It's kind of like cut in half. You guys can see this block, yeah? From this quartz block, we want to place a row of 3 quartz slab moving forwards from it. 1, 2, 3. We then want to extend it to the left by 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Extend that backwards by 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then we want to extend it all the way over to the left. It will connect to something. Boom. Perfect. You might even want to make that a solid block as well. So, we want to have something which should look a little bit like that. That is not too bad whatsoever. I think that's probably about time that we start adding some floors in before things get a little bit confusing. Actually, we won't. So, you see this row of quartz slab that we've kind of just added here, yeah? If we count in from this very left-hand quartz slab and we find the 4th block in, so that's the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and we place a quartz slab underneath it, followed by 3 quartz blocks, that's 1, 2, 3. Then we take that last quartz block and we extend it to the left using the quartz slab, and that's the upper half of the quartz block, like this. If we extend it to the left like that, perfect. And then if we leave a gap of 2 going right, so a gap of 2, and then we place the same configuration of a block of quartz and quartz slab coming down from the overhanging quartz, and then we take the same bottom quartz block and we extend it to the right using quartz slabs like that, we want to have a shape which should look very similar to this. Again, I know that this is kind of like a little bit tricky, a little bit confusing, but I'm sorry, you guys. This is how it goes. So now we are going to start adding some like solid shapes and stuff in here. So the next thing we want to do is we want to place underneath each one of these blocks of quartz that we have just extended to the left and right using quartz slabs. We want to place an additional block of quartz underneath them, connect them together, and then connect them left and right to whatever they will connect to. So in a similar fashion to that. We then want to fill in front of these, we kind of want to create a square of hardened clay now. We want to create a square of hardened clay that will kind of like sit inside of the shape that we've made. It's more of a rectangle, really. So it's like a rectangular shape of hardened clay that will sit inside of this, like so. we also want to place a row of birchwood stairs in between the two bottom blocks of quartz that we've just manipulated. We also want to fill the top of this balcony area in with birchwood planks. And I'm sorry, I know that this is kind of complicated. It's a really difficult tutorial to make, and I hope it's not too difficult to understand. So we want to create this. We then want to talk about these windows that we have here. So if you place birchwood planks directly behind the behind the quartz slabs and extend the birchwood planks behind where the stairs are and fill in this entire level using your birchwood, it will make things a little bit easier. So if we just fill this in using birchwood, it will just be a little bit easier. You take a step up walking inside of the house, as you can see, and we're also going to make the stairs a little bit more solid, because I think that will make things a bit easier. I'm going to take every single block here associated with the stairs, and I'm going to use block of quartz to make it into a solid shape like this. I'm also going to actually add some birchwood stairs to this. So in between all of the blocks of quartz and stuff that we have, I'm going to form a layer of birchwood stairs that will actually allow us to navigate between the floors. So like this, and then I'm going to have a flat patch of birchwood planks like that. And then I'm going to use birchwood stairs in between each one of the other pairs of quartz blocks like this. So I want it to come all the way up to the top like that. What I also want to do is I want to fill this upper area in here using birchwood planks. So I actually want the entire upper decking area, the very top of the house, to be birchwood planks. So we're just going to fill this in like this, and it will actually create quite a little bit of detail in a lot of places that you might not expect it to. I'll show you what I'm talking about in just a moment, but we want to create something which should look like that. So that's the very top. But this also wants to wrap around to in front of the house here. It wants to wrap around and fill in this part of the balcony, because that is also a balcony as well. So we want to have something which should look like that. And in doing that, you'll notice that we've actually added quite a bit of detail to the house. And the same thing goes for the back of the house as well. We've actually added a nice little bit of detail. So now that that part is done, we're going to add a little bit more detail around here. So where we have like these empty windows of like block of quartz and stuff, we're just going to give the glass that we're going to be placing something to grip onto. So I'm going to place some birchwood planks directly behind these quartz blocks, or maybe I'll place quartz behind the quartz like this. And I'm going to also place some birchwood planks here to make the windows just 2 blocks thick like that. So I want to have an effect which should look like this from the outside. And I'm just going to fill this in using blue stained glass pane, because I think that will look quite nice. Like that. That doesn't look too bad whatsoever. Now, I'm going to drop down to the lower level here, and you'll notice that where we have the entrance, we also now have a little bit of a cyan trim. I'm going to add a layer of cyan hardened clay directly behind the quartz slabs that we have down at the bottom here next to the entrance. I'm also going to place a block of quartz directly behind the entrance. I'm also going to place a block of quartz here right of the smaller window, and I'm going to seal up the stairs using block of quartz as well. I'm going to fill in these windows using blue stained glass pane, or actually, you know what I did? I didn't use blue stained glass pane because that's a little bit boring. I kind of got a cool effect. I'm just going to get rid of the pane, and I'm going to take out the blue stained glass block, and I'm going to fill in the windows using blue stained glass block here. So like in front of the empty space where the windows are, I'm using blue stained glass block, and that gives it a really cool effect instead of just using boring old paint. But that's the sort of effect that we're going for. Now, why don't we turn our attention to the back of the house just a little bit? If we come to the back of the house here, we want to, first of all, fill in the very bottom empty space using blue stained glass paint. This wants to be filled in with blue stained glass paint. We also want to create a window, a big window here, underneath this layer of kind of like half visible birchwood planks. We want to connect the left hand side and the right hand side down to the ground like this, and we want to fill the center of this in using glass. So use some glass paint, fill the center of this thing in. Perfect. Whilst we're focusing on the back, you know, this is where things get a little bit tricky, because we've mainly filled in the smaller part of the house. This big part of the house that we kind of have here is a little, it is a little bit tricky, to be honest with you. So we'll start with the entrance. If we come all the way to the entrance, right? This is where the main entrance is. I'm sure you guys will be able to find it. Well, we want to create an archway using cyan hardened clay. It wants to sit 2 rows into the entrance, so we want to leave a gap of 2, and then we want to have cyan hardened clay coming upwards, 2 rows in like this, that is as high as the block of quartz around it, like that. We want to connect it together at the top, like this, but we also want to take the back 2 corners, and we want to extend the corners backwards throughout the house, like this, and it wants to wrap around the back of the house, and it will actually create a pretty cool effect as we look around the house. So like, if we take a look at the sides of the house now, you can see that we kind of get this like cool effect. So you can see that we see cyan poking out. Something that we want to do after you've got that sorted out is we want to have cyan visible from, like, if you look at the left hand side of the house where we have all of these open bits, if we just completely fill in these windows using cyan hardened clay, then that's kind of what we're looking for. Like, that's a look that we're trying to achieve. If you don't want to use as much cyan hardened clay, I would recommend not doing that and adding in some windows instead. But I like the solid color of cyan. You could even simply just use glass if you wanted to. So from the outside, you get this really cool effect of cyan. I personally like it. Use windows if you like, though. If we come back to the front of the house once again, we want to separate this area here. So basically, you can see where we have this row of block of quartz here that kind of like comes upwards. We want to take this cyan, extend it to the right, kind of like cut this area off, and we want to fill this area just above the entrance in with blue stained glass block, like that. Looks pretty cool if you ask me. We also want to add some more cyan hardened clay around here. So we also want to add some cyan hardened clay windows like here. Actually, is that in the right position? Let me just make sure I don't want to do anything silly. Yeah, we also want to fill in these areas here using cyan hardened clay like this. So these want to be filled in. And I'm also going to do the same thing. I'm actually going to leave this as a window, I think. I don't know what to do. Now, I'm going to fill this in. I'm going to fill all of this side in with cyan hardened clay, and then I'll let you decide whether you want to add more or less windows. But from the outside, this is also going to have the very same effect as it does on the opposite side. As you can see, it's very much filled in with cyan hardened clay. Change that if you like. You'll notice that on some of the lower levels, if you look out, you'll be able to peek out. Like, where did I see it? Like here. You can kind of like peek out. You can see that there's a gap. Fill this in using cyan clay. You can do the same thing here and here if you like, just to kind of like form a solid shape. And speaking of like filling in the windows and stuff, like if we look at it from the front now, I'm going to fill the top of this in. The top of this cyan stained clay, I'm going to fill this in. I'm going to connect these top 2 corners together at the front. I'm going to connect the top 2 corners together at the back. That'll allow me to fill the top of the actual house, the top of the roof, in using blue stained glass block, as you can see me doing now. Very, very simple stuff. and we are rapidly running out of things to do. So we also have to fill in. So the deal is here, right? Where this balcony is, this is actually meant as a room. Like, you can walk out from the balcony into this room. That's the only way that you can actually access it. So you can make this room out of, let's make the floor birch wood planks. So in line with the balcony, make a flooring of birch wood planks that comes all the way towards the back of the house like this. So it's going to come all the way to the back of the house. It's going to be a nice big fully operational functional room. We're just going to extend it all the way back. So like this, will give you plenty of room. Now, if we look at the back here, we want to fill in these two windows that we have left using blue stained glass paint. And in using birch, it kind of gives a nice, cool separating image of like the windows. Like, it kind of breaks up the color a little bit. Use cyan if you don't like it. Now that we've done that, we can come once again to the front. We come back to the front a lot. We have to place a little bit of a... we have to fill this this little window in here. We have to fill this in using glass as well. So if we create a base of cyan hardened clay here, then that will allow us to fill this little window in with glass like that. So just underneath where we were working, like that. You might even want to add a little bit of glass like left and right here, just to limit the amount of space that you have to walk into like the balcony room. It's kind of up to you. Just making sure that there's no more around here. No. So, when it comes to the actual proper entrance of the house, it's here, where we have this big cyan archway. However, we do want to limit that a little bit. And the way that we want to limit it is we want to place a row of pillar quartz block just inside of the archway here, and here, like coming inside the archway, like one row inwards. And we also want to do something interesting with it. So we could add like some quartz slabs coming across the top here. We could perhaps even add a little bit of glass to extend down. Something like that looks quite nice, looks quite fancy. We also have to create a water feature surrounding this house. So if you extend out the pillar quartz block in front of itself using the quartz slab, and if you have the quartz slab come in front of the actual house, so like if you take it towards where the quartz block is and extend the quartz slab forwards by 1, 2, and then extend it left and right respectively, and then connect it back to the house, you can take advantage of this little space that we have here, and you can fill it in with water, and it will create a nice water feature. So we have something that should look like that now. We also want to connect the house together a little bit better. So if we take the pillar quartz block that we have for the mini entrance and we dig into the ground like this, and if we line it up with where the water feature is, so if we dig into the ground and we line it with where the water feature is, and we place a block of quartz in the ground like so, and we connect this right hand row towards where the water feature is, and we connect this left row to where the actual staircase is, and if we create a very direct border for the house, so you can see where the green hardened clay is. So I'm going to dig 2 rows in front. I'm going to create a corner coming from the front of the house. This is how far I want the house to come out. And I'll do the same here on the left. So I'll dig from this left corner and I'll dig forwards. And I actually want to make the floor on the bottom of the house. And it could be a different material if you want. I want the floor just outside of the front of the house to be kind of like block of quartz. I don't know what I want it to be birch wood planks. So, like, all the flooring for, like, the ground floor, for instance, I'd quite like to either 2 choices, birchwood planks or quartz. Or I might mix it up. I think I actually mixed it up in the original version. It's nice to have a little bit of a mix as well. So I'm just going to add a little bit of birchwood plankage here. So you can see that we now have a nice path leading to the main entrance. And we're going to have a nice path leading towards the not so main entrance like that. If you want, you can decorate the area next to the like the little side entrance sort of thing, and you can place like a row of poppies in front of this empty area here. And then I have a thing, as you guys might know, you might be able to tell, I have a thing for like artificial grass in just about every build. Wherever there is normal grass, I typically like to rip it up and place my own in rows of green hardened clay and lime hardened clay. The only reason that I wouldn't do this is if I wanted to bone meal the ground and I was looking for a much more natural look. However, for modern style houses especially, it's kind of nice to have what I call artificial grass. I likes it. So, once you've got that sorted out, the next thing we're going to do is add a little bit of glass to the balconies, to the walkways, to this, to that, the other. So I'm going to add like, oh, I don't want to add it there. Do I? No, I don't want any on this long stretch here. I'm going to add a little bit of glass to the staircase where it actually goes up, and then I'm going to add glass all the way up at the top, like where the top of the house is, as it borders around the balcony and the walkway to the balcony. I'm going to add glass pane around it. I'm also going to come to the very left-hand side, and I'm going to add a layer of glass pane coming all the way around the back, and it will connect to, boom, there. So we're looking for something which should look like that. You might be able to tell now that the house is actually shaping up very, 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 very nicely. And the only thing that I'm going to consider adding now, I think that's a good idea. Is it a good idea? I wasn't sure if I liked it. So, a swimming pool, I think goes very well with modern houses, and I feel as though this left-hand area is kind of lacking. That's what this area is for. So, if we take the back of the house, and we take the very back bottom left-hand corner, which is here, and we do a row of, I think it's 6 quartz slab coming back from it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's actually 7. A row of 7 quartz slab coming outwards from it. And then towards the front of the house, it wants to come all the way towards the front of the house. It wants to stop where the house stops. Then it wants to connect all the way over to the right. Then you want to form kind of like a nice little, like this is where the pool would be. Right? Do you get it? Like this is like where you would walk down. You could even use some quartz steps, which I don't actually have. Funnily enough, we've not used quartz stairs in this build. This is unheard of. And I'm just going to dig out this pool, and I'm going to put a pool here. Like I don't know whether this looks. I think it looks good, but I don't know whether it amplifies the build or if it's just kind of. I don't know whether it looks like some guy being me has just stuck a pool here just for fun. I don't know whether it looks that way. I don't know whether it fits in 100%. Well, I mean, no one's forcing you to add it. It's up to you. I think it looks quite good. It does go with the shape of the house. You know, it is what it is. Add it if you want, add it if you don't. You guys will be able to see from all of this whether or not you'd want to add it. And if you do add this, I did also highly consider when I was thinking about it. Like, now that we have one pool on the left-hand side of the house, would it be cool to have a pool on the right-hand side of the house? Or would I just simply be doing that because it's a little OCD of me, which I kind of am. So, I don't know. That is actually the house, though. Like, that's actually the house 100% complete. There's nothing more to add to this place except for the inside. Like, if you do the inside, you'll notice that you have plenty of room. Like, it's a blank canvas, pretty much, like the inside of this place. Like, you have this big main room. If you walk through the small entrance, you would connect it to the right-hand side here, which is where the bigger entrance is. You'd have to add a floor in to certain places, so you'd have to add a floor here, and you'd also have to knock into it, like here, so you'd have to knock into it to make it usable. If you come all the way up to the 3rd floor, you would, I think the 3rd floor is actually fine, like the 3rd floor is just a nice big empty room. This is where I'd store a bedroom. And I don't, there's nothing else to really tell you. Like, to access the 2nd floor, either add staircases or keep to the staircase system on the outside. It's completely up to you whether you want to do that, whether you want to have a nice little kind of like hidden secret room. You can add that behind the stairs. I don't know what else to tell you guys. The interior is completely up to you, as it always is. Not a fan of interiors, as you guys might know. And I've ran out of things to say. That's pretty much everything. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I hope you've enjoyed the tutorial. I hope you've managed to make the house, or I, at the very least, hope that you like the house and you kind of just clicked on the video because you've been like, hey, that's a pretty cool looking house. If you have enjoyed the tutorial or the video, please do smack that like button. I would really appreciate that. I'd love it if you could smack that like. It helps me out, it helps the channel out. It's fantastic. If you like the video, please consider subscribing to the channel. If you subscribe, please click the little bell next to the subscription button to ensure that you get all of my content sent directly to your sub box. I subscribe to a lot of YouTubers, and I know that I don't get every single video unless I do make the extra effort and double subscribe by clicking the little bell. Feel free to comment down below and suggest what you'd like to see next. I'm always getting requests to make modern houses, so I thought that I'd make one that's a little bit more intricate than kind of like some simple boring ones. I think that this is a really cool house. It's kind of difficult to make-ish, but I think it's a really cool house nonetheless. If you do enjoy my content, if you have subscribed, but you're looking for more to build, I would highly recommend checking out the card system in the description below for all of my various playlists. Just taking a little scan around my world now, you can see that we kind of build all sorts of stuff. We don't just stick to one style around here. We build modern houses, as you can kind of see here. We build cartoon houses. That is actually the Family Guy house. Yeah, that's the Family Guy house. That's an awesome looking house. I'm so stupid. It's the American Dad house, hence the American flag. I apologize, my brain almost exploded. That's the American Dad house. Check that out. That's Johnny Test's house. That's a nice suburban mansion over there in the background. Those are some nice, wonderful wooden houses. We have a really beautiful small survival house. We have a chunk house. We have ultimate survival houses. We have different kinds of modern houses. We even have a little medieval build here. We do all sorts. Basically, check out my channel, guys. I'm sure you'll find loads of stuff that you'll enjoy. I've finished talking. I should probably stop here. Thank you so much